the original Matrix. The other two were fine. I thought in the third one they made Morpheus into a pussy. I love Morpheus. And, you know, Neo is okay, but Morpheus was my guy in these movies, and I thought in the third movie he was just a puss, and I didn't like the way they ended the third movie. So I'm gonna go with the original, because when the original came out, it was a groundbreaker, and it's just nothing better than that. So nothing more need be said. Also, this movie, I went and saw it opening weekend at the theater, and they had like one of those viral websites up, and it basically convinced me, and I know I wasn't the only one that was duped, but it convinced me that this was a real documentary, and that is the Blair Witch Project. Throughout that weekend, I was convinced that somehow this footage was real, and that the dude was actually standing in the corner and the camera fell and it went dead. I remember there being dead silence in the theater, gasp and dead silence at the end. And I remember sitting at home on my porch drinking a beer at that time, just staring off going, I can't believe that really happened. And, about a week later we found out that it was all, the actors were alive and well and all that. But Reservoir Dogs, awesome. This is my gas can edition. And Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino. It's basically about eight gangsters trying to pull, I think it's a diamond heist, trying to pull off a diamond heist. And these go are in one big hand. And I'm going to show them. These are a favorite of mine, but they're not in my top 3. All of the Rocky movies, Rocky 1 through 6, and I do have 6 too, and 6 was worth it, folks. It wasn't just to make money. It bookends the movies. It felt like it belongs. It doesn't feel like it's just to make some money. Actually, in my opinion, Rocky 5 is the weakest Rocky of them all, and mainly it's because he doesn't get in the ring in that Rocky. It's just like a street fight. I've still got about 10 movies sitting here, folks. Okay. The original Aliens. James Cameron. This is where you see the Queen, and you actually see a ton of aliens. The Space Marines kick ass. They're on the space station. I love all the Aliens movies, but Aliens is my favorite of the Aliens. Of the Aliens movies. This movie I saw when I was about 12. I remember seeing it at my aunt and uncle's house at that time, and they had a taped off copy that they had rented. This is back, in the 80s, and they had bootlegged a copy of it onto VHS. And that'd be Robocop. As a kid, I loved Robocop. Just something about this movie, it felt like it was a grown-up movie, and I was a kid watching it, probably 11 or 12. And here's another one from when I was a kid. This one stands, above others. Tron. It's Tron. Great movie. It's about a guy who basically gets sucked into a computer mainframe because he's trying to get the info out of it that, he had created a bunch of these arcade games, and, the mainframe pulls him into the game and basically makes him play until he dies, so. Okay, we're getting down to the meat of the matter. I got about eight left here, and I'm going to roll through them. This movie, I saw the trailer, and I thought it was going to blow, kind of like Rain of Fire, and I was also sadly mistaken. Death to Smoochy. It's got Edward Norton in it. I think Edward Norton is an awesome actor. Everything he's in is very versatile. I mean, he really can put himself in any situation. In this movie, he plays a goody good guy, who's on the straight and narrow, and he's a, kids show, icon, and it shows him trying to navigate, the movie, the television world and being an honest guy and all these other people that are crooked, so it's pretty funny. This is another one that has been mentioned, I know. This movie, to me, T2, was... I watched this so many times growing up. The effects were groundbreaking and led to further effects technology that's just, grown exponentially. But this was one of the granddaddies of effects. And I still remember when I saw the dude flying the helicopter with 3 arms. I was like, what's that about? But this is, it's T2. Okay, we're down to my bottom 5 here. The top 5, I guess. The number 5 would be Jurassic Park. This movie set the special effects on its ear at the time, and it did really set things in motion from there on with effects. And I really think that this movie spurred movies and even TV special effects to what they are now. It's getting hard to decide between these. Number 4, Fight Club. I love this movie. Edward Norton's also in this, and Brad Pitt. It's about a guy trying to figure out his life and, the struggles he's going through to figure out where and who he really is and where he needs to be. So, I know that doesn't seem like what the title recommends, but that's what it is. Number 3, X-Men 2. The opening scene in this with Nightcrawler blew me away. I sat there glued to the screen. I didn't get distracted once during watching this movie. I walked out of the theater smiling. I love this movie. It's my favorite comic book movie, probably to date. Number 2. We're going to go with... We're going to go with Pulp Fiction for number 2. I remember, I didn't see this at the theater. I remember my buddies and I renting it and then in turn going out and immediately buying it. I think we bought it on VHS and then we got DVD players and we all got DVD copies of it as well. I had the whole movie dialogue memorized at one point. I could just pull it out of my ass, but... It's Pulp Fiction. It's Quentin Tarantino, Sam Jackson, John Travolta, and Uma Thurman. Bruce Willis. Ton of people in this movie. I don't know what more to say about it. Number 1 is going to have to be The Big Lebowski. This movie, when I stick it in, every time I watch it, is funnier and funnier. I pull lines out of my ass with this all the time when I'm talking to people. It's a buddy movie. It's awesome. I love it. I hasten to say it's my favorite movie of all time, though. I mean, it's my favorite one right now. Another one of my favorite all times I showed in Halloween, and that's Evil Dead 2. It's probably at least tied with Big Lebowski. Anyway, folks, I'm going to trim this. I hope you'll watch both parts. And if you don't, I understand. But I'm going to get out of here. So, talk to everybody later. And goodbye.